All right, everyone, get ready for a deep dive.
Huh?
Today we're exploring Professor Minerva McGonagall.
Professor McGonagall.
We all know her, right? Transfiguration, head of Gryffindor, stern but fair.
Exactly, but we're going deeper than that today.
Way deeper, like what makes her tick, the choices, the moments that made her who she is.
Well, that's what's fascinating about her, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That duality. On the surface, all discipline, rules, expectations.
Yeah, you're right.
But underneath, a heart of gold, compassion, and a fierce loyalty.
You really see that in the books, especially.
Oh, absolutely.
So to truly get her, I think we need to go back.
Back to the beginning.
Yeah, her childhood.
It's a complex one, isn't it?
Muggle father, witch mother. Can you imagine, as a child, trying to sort that out?
Her mother, Isabel, chose to keep the magic secret from her husband.
Wow.
So Minerva's growing up with this huge part of her identity, and her mother's hidden.
That must have had a massive impact, Like, did it shape her personality even then?
Oh, without a doubt. Think about it. A child learning about secrets, about living with a divided self. It echoes throughout her whole life.
That makes sense. That need to balance things, her magical side, and the ordinary world,
It's like those early years planted the seeds.
for everything that came later. Her choices, her career.
Especially when it comes to love and duty.
Wait, are we talking about Dougal McGregor?
Yes, he was the one.
The muggle she fell for?
Not just fell for, they were engaged.
Engaged to a muggle. That changes everything.
It's a detail that's often overlooked.
I know. I always pictured her so dedicated to the wizarding world, like love wouldn't even factor in.
But it did. Deeply, she loved him.
So what happened? Why didn't they?
She broke it off.
She did. Why? I mean, they were in love, magic.
Yeah.
It's like something out of a storybook.
Minerva, even as a young woman, was incredibly insightful. She knew that marrying Dougal would mean asking him to live a half-life, always on the outside of her world, and for her, it would mean sacrificing her ambitions, her potential as a witch. It was a choice between her heart and, I suppose you could say, her destiny.
So she chose duty over desire.
She did. And it wasn't easy.
That's a heavy burden for someone so young.
It was. But it shows us something fundamental about Minerva. She's willing to make the tough choices for the greater good, even if it breaks her own heart. And that decision, I believe, it shapes her entire path.
Like that heartbreak fueled her dedication to Hogwarts, to shaping young witches and wizards.
Precisely. It's as if she poured all that love, that sense of responsibility, into being the best teacher she could be.
The McGonagall we know, the stern but fair professor.
Exactly.
Everyone remembers her lines, especially in the movies. Hogwarts is threatened. Do your duty to our school.
Chills.
More than chills. It's like you can hear her whole being in those words.
Her whole identity is tied to Hogwarts. It's true.
It's not just a job. It's who she is.
And that loyalty runs deep.
From the start, even as a young teacher, you see it.
She's not just teaching Transfiguration. She's teaching values.
Bravery, resilience.
Yeah. A deep sense of responsibility.
She's not afraid to be tough.
Because she knows what they're capable of.
It's tough love, but the good kind.
Exactly. The kind that comes from caring. Deeply. She wants them to be the best they can be.
And she sees it in them, even when they don't see it themselves.
Like Neville Longbottom. Or even Harry, at times.
Great point. She never gives up on them.
Never. Even when they mess up, even when they face impossible odds.
She believes in them, and that's powerful.
Speaking of powerful, her relationship with Dumbledore.
Oh, yeah. That's more than just headmaster and deputy, isn't it?
Much more. You can see the history there, the shared battles.
The respect, too.
Deep respect. And trust. They're colleagues, confidants.
But she's not afraid to challenge him, is she?
Not at all. Especially when the students are at risk. You see her standing her ground.
Against Dumbledore. That takes guts.
It highlights her moral compass. She knows what's right, and she'll fight for it, even if it means disagreeing with the most powerful wizard in the world.
That's a great point to wrap up this part of the dive on, I think. Minerva McGonagall, she's not just following rules.
No, she's a woman of principle, of unwavering loyalty, and a heart that many don't see.
But it's there, guiding her every step of the way.
Absolutely. And it's what makes her such an incredible character.
A powerful witch,
Yeah.
a dedicated teacher, and most importantly, a true Gryffindor at heart.
Through and through. It's amazing, really, how those choices she made early on, like breaking off the engagement, they come up again and again throughout her life.
Yeah, you're right. Like, she's always trying to protect people, guide them, Make sure they don't have to face that same kind of pain.
Exactly. It's almost like she pours that experience into being a mentor.
To her students, to Hagrid, even to Dumbledore sometimes.
Yes. And it's funny how the books and the movies show her a little differently, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. Maggie Smith in the films, she's brilliant.
Iconic.
But they play up the dry humor, those one-liners.
True. Those are classic.
But the books, I feel like they give you more of her internal life,
Yeah.
you know? Like the emotional depth of those choices.
Exactly. In the books, you see the full weight of her relationship with Dumbledore.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's not just headmaster and deputy.
No, it's deeper.
She challenges him, acts as a voice of reason, especially when students are at risk.
Those scenes are always so intense.
You feel the tension.
But also the respect.
So much respect. They're not just colleagues, but friends. Friends who've been through it all together.
Exactly, and that brings up her loyalty, which is huge.
To Dumbledore, to Hogwarts, to everything they stand for.
But it's not blind loyalty, is it?
No, not at all. She questions things, stands up for what she believes, even if it means disagreeing with Dumbledore.
Which, let's face it, takes courage.
A lot of courage. Dumbledore is, well, Dumbledore.
Exactly. But she's not intimidated.
It speaks to her integrity.
She's not swayed by power or authority, just her own sense of right and wrong.
And that's what makes her such a strong leader.
You know, it's interesting how that loyalty plays out with other characters, too. Like her relationship with Hagrid.
Oh, that's a unique one.
She's a mentor to him, but she's always firm
Always pushing him to do better.
to learn from his mistake.
It's that tough love again.
But you know it comes from a good place.
Absolutely. She sees the potential in everyone, even those who might be seen as, well, different.
Outsiders, yeah.
She recognizes their strengths and wants them to grow.
And speaking of strengths,
Yeah.
we can't forget she's a total badass witch.
Oh, absolutely. A master of transfiguration.
One of the most difficult types of magic, right?
Extremely complex.
And don't forget, she's an animagus.
Right. Not just anyone can do that.
It takes incredible skill, focus, control.
It's a testament to her power as a witch.
And her animagus form, the tabby cat, it's kind of perfect, isn't it?
Symbolic.
Cats, they're adaptable, independent.
Resourceful.
They always land on their feet.
Just like Professor McGonagall.
Wow, I never thought of it like that.
It reflects her personality, her magic.
She's resilient, always finds a way.
Exactly. And it shows how deep her understanding of magic really is. It's not just about spells, it's about connecting with who you are at your core.
Okay, mind blown. So, back to her as a mentor. What do you think makes her so good at it? Is it the discipline, the high expectations?
Well, that's part of it, sure, but there's more to it than that.
What do you mean?
She connects with her students individually.
Like really sees them?
She sees their potential even when they can't see it themselves.
If they do, it's got to be so powerful for them.
Absolutely. It's like she's saying, I know you can do this, even if you don't believe it yet.
And it's not just the students, right? She's there for her colleagues, too, even Dumbledore.
Remember, she wasn't afraid to challenge him
To push back.
when she thought he was wrong.
She always put Hogwarts first. The students.
Her integrity is unwavering.
It's inspiring.
It is. That's why people connect with her so much. She's not perfect,
Makes mistakes, just like everyone.
but she's always striving to do what's right, even if it's hard.
Even if it means personal sacrifice.
Exactly. She embodies those Gryffindor qualities.
Bravery, chivalry, all that.
But she also has this wisdom, this compassion.
That goes beyond any house.
She's just good.
A good person.
And a good witch.
And that's why she's so enduring, I think.
People see themselves in her.
Her struggles, her triumphs,
It reminds us that strength and vulnerability aren't opposites.
they can exist together.
They can make each other stronger.
It makes you think about those choices she made
The sacrifices.
and how they shaped her into the amazing witch she became.
It really does. And it begs the question, what can we learn from McGonagall? How can we take those lessons about resilience, about balancing duty and desire, and apply them to our own lives?
It really is, isn't it? Like, what can we learn from Minerva McGonagall? She's such a fascinating character. So much to her.
Maybe that's the lesson right there.
What do you mean?
She shows us it's okay to be complex, to have those different sides to ourselves.
Yeah, the duality.
Strong, aindy, compassionate, disciplined, but understanding.
Ambitious, but selfless.
Exactly. It's about finding the balance.
Which, let's be honest, is hard. I mean, look at the choices she made.
Right. Sacrificing her own happiness.
For the greater good. Putting Hogwarts first, always.
She teaches us that sometimes the toughest choices, They lead to the most meaningful lives.
It's about finding your purpose,
Dedicating yourself to something bigger.
something larger than yourself.
Exactly.
And that's something we can all aim for, right? In our work, our relationships, the way we contribute to the world.
It's about finding that thing that lights you up, that makes you want to be better.
And knowing it's not going to be easy.
Oh no.
Yeah.
There will be challenges, setbacks, moments you'll doubt yourself.
But she shows us how to be resilient.
To have that unwavering belief in yourself, in your ability to get through it.
You know, it's funny. We think of heroes as these perfect figures.
Larger than life.
But McGonagall, she's amazing, powerful, beauty.
Human.
She makes mistakes.
She's had her heart broken.
She has her own struggles.
And that's what makes her so relatable, so inspiring. She shows us that even the most incredible people, they're not perfect.
They have flaws, vulnerabilities.
And it's in those struggles, those moments of hardship that we grow.
We find our strength.
Exactly. It's like she's saying, it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to mess up, to have doubts. What matters is how you get back up, how you learn, and keep going.
I love that.
That's the real lesson, I think.
From Minerva McGonagall.
Embrace who you are, the good and the bad. Be kind to yourself, but push yourself to be better. Do better. Make a difference.
And never underestimate a good cup of tea.
Never. So, to everyone listening, we hope this deep dive into Professor McGonagall has given you some new insights, things to think about.
Maybe even some inspiration.
To embrace your own complexities.
And to find your own kind of magic.
Because the world needs more McGonagalls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, there's a bit of her in all of us.
Just waiting to be discovered.